Speaking of kids, and you have 2 daughters?
4.
4 daughters. No sons?
No, don't want any dummies in the house.
Okay. If you told one of your daughters that we're going to go down to the gynecologist to make sure that you're still a virgin, what type of response? What type of response would you get from one of your girls?
Hold on, let me get my boyfriend out of my room. That's what she would say.
I'm talking about T.I., of course.
I'm completely reversing T.I.
What do you mean?
I didn't want to talk about this, but I will. I was completely reversed from his thinking. Yeah, I was a horny boy too. I was always chasing the girls, trying to put my fingers, tongues, penis in places on some other man's daughter as well. I understand. But I asked Will Smith one day, I said, how do you deal with the kid situation, with your kids? He said, I told my kids everything I did was a learning process. In process, I was learning as much as I could. I was trying to learn as much from my dad and my mom as possible and around me. But in essence, I wanted them to know I love them to death and it's their decision and their life and their life path. I hope I've given you enough information and things to hold on to, but now it's your life. Mm-hmm. I'm the same way. I was the same way. I'm me. I knew when my daughters were no longer virgins. You can look at them. You can tell how they're gonna act around you. They don't want to be around you. They really don't want to be around you because they think you can tell and you can see. They act differently. Of course, they act differently. They've eaten the apple. I just think one is none of your business.
The girl's 18.
Not even that. It's women used to have babies at 14. You were an old hag if you wasn't married by 17.
Yeah, I mean Romeo and Juliet were like 13 or something.
Yeah. White folks have always done some early stuff. But in Eve's Bayou, obviously black folks do too. But like I tell it in the movie, The Color Purple. 14 years old. This is the way it used to be. But to sit around.
But just to be fair, people used to live to like 30. So
yeah,
you had to hurry
42.
up.
You 42. You old bastard.
Right. Yeah. When you die at 30, 14 doesn't seem like that early anymore.
Well, even that thought process. You don't know when you're going to die now.
Right.
People are living longer. You don't know. Mm-hmm. But to be that concerned is nothing different than him being Catholic. Catholics think the same exact way. The Christian religion is so behind the times when it comes to sexuality that's a mentality. To the point where they had a thing called chastity belts. That's all right. He did. He put a modern day chastity belt, it's called a gynecologist, on his daughter.
That is exactly true.
I know, no one wants to pay attention to it. He's not well. He's just put a chastity belt on his daughter.
Yeah, and he got a lot of grief over it.
He got a lot of publicity.
A lot of publicity. Not so much good publicity.
Well, it depends on who it looks like he's promoting sex as opposed to wearing a condom.
Okay.
Right? He's promoting, without him realizing, the agenda of the Republican Party.
Abstinence. Okay. Well, you helped set up our Matt Barnes interview.
Yes. Who else you need? I want you to get Gilbert Arenas.
I'm ready for Gilbert Arenas. What's up?
You better be ready because this
I've met him before.
Yeah.
Cool guy.
I want you to get Gilbert Arenas.
Gilbert Arenas. Come on, let's go.
Gilbert Arenas, let's go, yo. Let's call Matt.
Let me tell you something. Okay. People don't realize the effect of VladTV. Sometimes you have to toot your own horn.
Yeah.
But consistently throughout time, a VladTV interview has usually been that person's biggest interview ever. Mm-hmm. When you look at all the people I've interviewed, you put them up against any other platform, you look at the views, you look at the impact.
Oh, you're the shit.
Omarion has interviewed lots of other places, but Omarion has one interview that everyone knows, and that's the VladTV
love my
interview.
Vlad series. I look at it. I watch it to see if my makeup is right. I want to see. I can get on this show and see if when I was working out, because, I'm building my pec back up. I was on one show, man. It looked like I had flat titties down here, man. This is definitely the spot. It's why, I would love for you to interview Stephen A.
I would love to.
But I don't know if he will. Because you also have to understand this. The way you are in position now is if you're the heavyweight champion, I don't want to fight. You gotta pay attention. You gotta Roy Jones the shit out of your career. Roy Jones is sidestepping a lot of people on purpose.
Yep.
So a lot of people don't want to come on your show and tell the truth because you got no choice. With just these two lights in a room that's soundproof without a whole bunch of people, just can't. You kind of can't lie. You can't lie here.
That's the point.
Right, because this doesn't give you space for lying. Even though this is a place of, California, everything is make-believe. This doesn't feel make-believe.
Well, Matt Barnes came into the interview, and I'll tell you the one thing I heard over and over again after the interview. Mm-hmm. A lot of people DM me, people I spoke to, and they all said the same thing. They said that the Matt Barnes VladTV interview totally changed the way they view Matt Barnes.
Yeah.
The media has consistently painted him to be the villain, to be the bad guy, to be the bad father, to be the one that's causing a bunch of problems.
Agitator.
The agitator. And he even talked about how there is this stereotype, especially with black athletes, of being deadbeat fathers and that type of thing.
But it's tough, man. Like, once the kids are involved, there was never, although my childhood was crazy, like, there was never, like, my mom was leaving or my dad was leaving, we had to choose sides. Like, our fucked up shit was just in front of us every single day. You know what I mean? So there was never that part of it. And, so when kids are involved and you don't get to see them and you don't get to talk to them, there's so many deadbeat dads out there. And I really feel like it pisses me off when there's moms out there that don't allow the father to be a father, especially when the father wants to be. There's such a portrayal of deadbeat black dads or deadbeat athletes and all this kind of shit. And there's a lot of guys out there that want to be, to be fathers, and the women make it really hard on them.
Yeah.
And once we actually got into the interview and he started to tell his story and all the details behind it, you realize that this is someone who just loves his kids and is willing to fight, spend his own money. I think he mentioned he spent like $1 million or something in legal fees to really be in his kids' lives.
And they kick you out of their lives at 16. So it's the craziest thing. He got like 5 more years with these boys.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not convinced those are actually his kids. I think he actually cloned himself somehow and managed to implant that embryo into Gloria. Well, embryos, I guess he split them. He made 2 clones of himself, and those 2 came out as himself.
They look
2
exactly
twins. They look just like him.
Like, seriously, like she had nothing to do with it. Had carried these children.
Like she had there was none of her DNA in those 2 boys.
Yeah. And see, the other thing when Matt was on the show is he felt comfortable.
Yeah.
He felt comfortable. I know he said that. I know he was comfortable in getting the point out. And, everybody thought he beat up old boy with like
Derek Fisher.
Yeah. See, I was leaving it out on purpose. Beat him up but he wasn't able to get a clear hit in. And, D. Fisher's a good dude. That's the craziest thing. That's how I know it's love. Because D. Fisher's a really good dude. He's not in there to try to run up and, I hit that too. He seriously wants this to be his wife.
They're still in a relationship, right?
Yeah. Like he wants Gloria to be his wife. So it wasn't like, hey, I'm messing with your baby mama. No, your baby mama is my future wife. That's what Derek wants. So yeah, maybe he could have had a conversation, but he was thinking, I didn't need to talk to you about that. I needed to literally get her to not want you back because I want this energy in front of me. It's another way. That's why I said I'm learning to work on. I watch Will Smith and I listen to him, and I've been around him since he was 19 or something. And he had a conversation with me, and he said, you have to learn to detach. You have to literally learn to detach and stop feeling other people need to be your happiness or your joy. Like, and you can't be upset with their joy. Like, Matt, if you really loved her, then you would want the best for her mentality.
Yeah, and in
a
the
Mario
interview-
Bliss.
Yeah, and in that interview, he finally sat back and he said, "Well, I realized that my kids liked him, and she could do a lot worse."
After my initial frustration, I wasn't really tripping no more. I'm like, he could be as much worse. So my kids are kind of the ones that pushed me into like squashing everything with them. So it would be a situation before where we hadn't talked or said nothing. So he was with Gloria, but so he would come to the boys' games. And when I would come, he would look down the whole game or sometimes even leave. And I'm just like, this shit is stupid. So one day I just pull him to the side and I'm just like, yo, check this out. Like, this is the, it wasn't so much about you being with Gloria after we had separated. That was kind of an ill move. But to me, you're living and around my kids constantly, and you don't come to me about that. Like, you have twins that are a couple years older. Like, how would you feel if your teammate was doing the same thing? And I understand. I apologize. And you guys were going through this and that. And that's why I didn't talk to you. But we kind of put that shit behind us and squashed it, and we're cool now.
Well, they got engaged, right?
Yeah.
Are they married?
I don't think they're married.
She could have had a D-boy or something, or a scammer, or something of that sort being around him and his kids. Mm-hmm. And they worked it out. They're in a good place now.
Right. He got more kids, got new girls.
Yeah. He's got a new girlfriend. What's her name's daughter? Beverly
Johnson?
Beverly Johnson's daughter.
He didn't tell me that was her. Yeah.
You didn't know this?
Yeah, she. I've been around her forever.
Am I messing you up right now?
Yeah, I didn't know it was Beverly's daughter though. They have a kid too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she looks just like her.
Yeah. Let me see. He just said, "Yeah, man, had another one, Sal." And it's so funny. I'd see Matt as we get going, and you see how he talks and he doesn't look up. Or,
Yes. There you go.
yeah, she's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, it was definitely a very, very dope interview. And the thing I loved about Matt is nothing was out of bounds. Like, we talked about the whole thing about what he told James Harden's mother. You know about that?
No.
He was playing in a game, and he heard a woman say, "Go back to somewhere, you faggot," or something like that. And he said, "Suck my dick, bitch." And he mouthed it, and went on, continue his game. And then afterwards, someone's like, "That was James Harden's mother that you were speaking to, right?" But he's like, "But she started it. Like, she called me a faggot. Like, what am I supposed to say? Thank you, ma'am? Like."